Hi, good evening. Welcome to this week's Sporomyces. Baruch Hashem, Pashas Vayera. Story of the Ben Melech that was comprised completely of precious gems. So let's just bring mice up and we'll talk about this. Just 1 second. Why is this? All right. I apologize for the delay. Anyhow, so we started the story. The story is that there was a king that had no children, and he was very unhappy about it because he didn't want that his kingdom should be transferred to a strange man, to a stranger. So he said that he called the Jews and told them, listen, you know that you are in my hands. You know that, I can basically do with you whatever I want. So I'm asking you to pray to Hashem that they should have children. So they searched, they found a hidden tzaddik, and he told them he doesn't know anything. So they went to the king. The king summoned him and told him, listen, you know that I'm the boss here. I can do whatever it is that I want. So I'm asking you nicely, that you should pray they should have a son. They should have children. So that tzaddik Nister said that he will have a child this year. And sure enough, that year a daughter was born. And the daughter was incredible. She was incredibly beautiful and incredibly smart. She knew all the sciences, and she could sing. She could play all the instruments. She was amazing. And kings came from near and far to see her and to see what an amazing phenomenon that was. But then the king wanted to have a son. So so again, he told the Jews, you should, daven for me. So again, they searched for the same tzaddik as above, but they couldn't find him because he passed away already. So in the Mises, they continued and they found now the hidden tzaddik, and they told him they should give the king a son. And he again replied that he doesn't know anything. And they told the king, and they summoned him, says, you know very well, the Jews are in my hands. The tzaddik said to the king, can you do what I order? And the king said, yes. So he told him, I needed to bring all the types of precious stones, because each precious stone possesses a unique quality. And the king possesses a book in which it's written all the type of the precious stones. So the king said, I'm going to spend half my kingdom in order to have a son. So the king went and brought him all the types of precious stones, and the sage took them and pulverized them, and took a cup of wine and poured them into it. He gave half the cup to the king to drink, and the other half to the queen. And he told them that they're going to have a son who would be completely made of precious stones. And he would possess all the qualities of all the precious stones. And the tzaddik went home. And the queen gave birth to a son, and the king rejoiced very greatly. Now, the son was not made of precious stones. And when he was 4 years old, he was extremely handsome and very wise in all the wisdoms, all the languages, and the king reveled in him. King, also all the other kings. Now, the princess saw that she was not that important anymore. She used to be the only show in town until the boy was born. So she became jealous. And the only consolation was that the tzaddik had said that the son would be comprised completely of precious stones. And so it's good at least that he was not made of precious stones. That was only the chama. So we went through this, and we basically until now, we said obviously the king is the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and the children that he wants are people that have das. The Rabbeinu says in Torah Zayin, the second Chelik of Likutei Moharan, that Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world. The world should be populated through Bnei Deo, that the people that have das, is because if people have no das, Rabbeinu says they're not even people; they are animals in people's shape. They're not people. So Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world that it should populate from people that are Balei Deo. In other words, the world should be taken by, should go to strangers, with people that have no shaychus with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu basically spoke to the neshamas of the Yidden and asked them to daven for him. This is the great debate that Kodesh Baruch Hu had with the Malachim before the world was created. The Malachim said, you should not create the world because a person, is going to sin before you. And forget about sinning, just not doing anything that doesn't behoove the Kodesh, that it doesn't fit. The Kodesh Baruch Hu is already, when a person is in bad shape, and there should be such a deen that the world cannot even exist. So, but the Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted dafka, the tikkun of the world should be through people. And the people means the people that have a choice, because if the people have no choice, it doesn't matter how many trickling down steps are going to be from the Kodesh Baruch Hu, from Ein Sof, for this world, it still will be one thing. Kodesh Baruch Hu will be serving himself by himself. It has to be a being who has the ability to choose to do Hashem's will or not to do Hashem's will. Only then there is value to Avodas Hashem. So but what the Malachim said, that man is going to sin, I mean, that's the truth. You can't argue with that. So the world cannot exist. The Kodesh Baruch Hu is absolute and it's total. So there was the neshama. There was one neshama. And gave the Kodesh Baruch Hu a guarantee that despite whatever people will go through, whatever it is that they will do, this neshama said that it guarantees that at the end the world will be rectified the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it to. Okay, that is what it means that they looked for a tzaddik that could daven for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make it so that the king should have children. The world will be created. And these are Nishmas Israel. The first progeny was a daughter. And we said that whenever the impetus for progeny comes from above, the resulting offspring is a female. And whenever the impetus for having offsprings come from below, the offspring will be male. Tomorrow, Ish Mazriat Chila, girl is boy, Ish Mazriat Chila, a boy is born, Ben. So the very first Bria has to be a daughter, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu starts the world from his own initiative. This is Arusa del Ela. So Mimela, the first progeny is a girl. What does it mean that the first progeny is a girl? We're talking about tzaddikim. We're talking about tzaddikim that will serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that learn Torah, that not only they learn Torah, they're great tzaddikim. They know all the wisdoms. They know all the chochmas of Torah and Shas and Poskim, and they're totally immersed in all the mitzvahs of Torah, and they know how to sing, how to play instruments. This is all the songs and all the praises to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the daughter, she knows all the languages. Knowing all the languages, obviously, we're talking about the purification of the good from bad and elevating the good from the bad lashonis of languages of the goyim. The Rebbeinu says in Torah Yotes, the tzaddikim can help a Jew and push away from him the bad that is in him, and get in him a great cheshek de kedusha, to deal with Torah, to sit and learn Torah and feeling of Hashem, like all the tzaddikim every day Hashem. And through this, the tzaddikim, are creating great simcha back in Ishmael. Then the Melech wanted to have a son. That's the Seder Olam. The Kedusha starts little by little. First of all, it has to be a daughter. As the Gemara says in Baba Basra, Bas Tchilo Siman Yofa Lebani, which is somewhere in the Chiddush in the world. Great Nachas Ruach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's Zmiros, Shiros, Tzbachas, praises to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then you have, Hasidic courts and Chaburas of Avrechem, and you have yeshivas, and you have all these murdic things. But the HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants more. He wants a son. These are tzaddikim that achieve dveikus with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu on an entirely different level. Even though the Nishmas Yisrael, from a bechina of daughter, they are oisik in Torah, in tefillah, in singing and praises to Hashem Yisrael. Baruch Hu wants more. Wants Am Yisrael to be totally wrapped up in him and totally included in him. That they shouldn't be, as it says, so that his kingdom will not be swayed and end up by a strange man. It's like the Kotzker Rebbe said that on the Tehillim, the pasuk Lo Yebecha El Zal, you shouldn't have a foreign deity in you. So he said that make it so that the Shem Yisborach should not be a stranger by you. As God soll nicht sein fremd bei dir. The Baruch Hu shouldn't be a stranger by you. It means that the dveikus in Hashem and oneness with HaKadosh Baruch Hu should not be, once in a blue moon, kind of like, wow, I just went over there and I had such a great time, and maybe Simchas Torah on this, and people were singing and I had such a gavaldige Zach, and then I come back to living my own life, to being who I am. It means that the rest of the time, Yom Metzias is just this world. And Dveikus and Kodesh Baruch Hu is a once in a lifetime. It's once in a blue moon. So Kodesh Baruch Hu is like a foreigner. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants it to be the opposite. As we explained the last time that we learned it, when Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world, he created the light. On the first day, the light that with this light, a person could see from the end of the world to the other end of the world. And it doesn't mean just, seeing from here to Timbuktu and back, but also from seeing here to Olam Atzilus and back. Now, everything is open, which means that you're going to be living in a Metzias that you don't see a table and a plate and a cup in a chair, but what you'll be seeing godliness, which is constricted to a table and to a plate. In other words, everything is godliness. You'll be coming from there. The Gashmias, that's not not your home. This is what you have to go through in order to elevate the Nitzosos, the Kedusha, the holy sparks from this world. So we said the Jews were looking for him, for that tzaddik that already passed away. So now they found another tzaddik, and they told him to give a son to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he said he doesn't know at all. We spoke about this, doesn't know at all. The first tzaddik said it, the second tzaddik is saying it. We spoke at great length, this Indian that here we're talking about tzaddikim that their level of knowledge of Hashem gets to the point that it's totally without boundaries. That means that the goal of knowing is that you don't know anymore. Because the knowledge of this world, as we learned in Torah Chaf Aleph, Achol V'Kedem Satani, there's the way of learning in this world that you're coming out from this world, you're adding knowledge one after the other. The way that you understand is you define things. Anything which is undefined, you don't know. You want to know, where am I? I'm Bet Shemesh, okay, so you know where I am. But if you're told I am Bet Shemesh and I'm in New York and I am in, Timbuktu, you don't know where I am because it's not defined. It's not limited to one place. But Iker Yeshua Nedo talks about a knowledge that is without boundaries. Each tzaddik told them, these are tzaddikim of the highest order. That's that neshama. So we also mentioned that Anash said that tzaddikim, that their life, their avodas Hashem, is predicated on them being unknown. As long as they're unknown, as long as they are being disputed, they can exist in this world. The minute they become famous, everybody sees, look, he promised the king a child, boom, a daughter. He cannot exist in this world anymore, and he passed away. Now they found a second tzaddik. He also said he doesn't know anything. And he's Moshe Nefesh to be Memal of the Rotzim of the king. And what he is going to give him a son that is made out of precious stones. And that is the way to prevent the kingdom from not being given over to a stranger. But as we see, there are already, things don't work according to plan, at least so it seems. First of all, everybody's laughing at him. Well, what do you need to make a person a precious stone? Well, a person is a person. A son is a son. No, well, precious stones. And then when the son was born, everybody was making fun of him. The son was not made out of precious. It was gorgeous and was wise and everything else, but it wasn't made out of precious stones. And it's not only that he's not made of precious stones, as we'll learn later in the story. He became covered with leprosy. So that is the thing that enabled the second tzaddik to continue to exist in this world. He said one thing, and it seemed as if that didn't happen. So they told the king, they told him, listen, the same thing. He said the same thing. Now this Chacham says to the king, says, will you be able to do what I order you? And the king said yes. This is already the second fashion, to have a progeny. This is the Rusa del Tas. The tzaddik is saying, from the tzad, from the Adam, here the Kodesh Baruch Hu Keviyachol represents the man, the king and the queen. Because Kodesh Baruch Hu is B'chinas Ish, is Mashpia. If the Hoylada starts from Hashem Yisbarach, there'll be a daughter. So the Leisa, the Elo. But now when the tzaddik says it, and so the king and the queen are both B'chinas Mekabel. They're going to listen to what the tzaddik says. So now he's zocher to have, the king is zocher to have a son. And as we said, the sage said, you have to bring all types of precious stones, because every precious stone has a different kind of quality. The king has a sefer, it's written all the precious qualities. And the king says, I'm going to spend half my kingdom to have a son. But they went, they brought all the precious stones. The sage, pulverized them and took wine, divided into half he gave to the king, half he gave to the queen. And the son was born. And he told them that the son is going to have all the qualities of precious stones. He will comprise of precious stones and have all the sgulas, all the properties. Now, what are the precious stones? What is the whole meaning of precious stones? We're not talking about Fabergé eggs, and we're not talking about Tiffany's. We're talking about Kedushas Habriya. The precious stones denote the inner light that exists inside the soul of every Jew. Rabbeinu says, in Torah Vav, Chalak Aleph, that if you find, he brings them out in the Gemara, if you find a precious stone, whatever that precious stone needs to be set in the crown of the king. This is, if you found a crown, any precious stone you'll find, you should set it in the crown of the king. The precious stones are the neshamas of Jews. The precious stones belongs to the crown of the king, and that particular precious stone shines to a person the light of the Emes in his own teva, in his own dibur, as in Teretes, in Terkofil Beis. Your own inner light shines to you, your own particular nakuda. And that stone, that light represents, this is the oneness between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As it says that Evan is Natrikon Av v'ben kechada, a father and son as one. The Tanya says that the is, and Rabbeinu says in Torah Zayin Chelek Beis, that the nail on the toenail of the sun has a complete oneness and unity with the brain of his father, much more than all the processes that took place in order for the son to be born. Even though these processes are much higher than, flesh and bone son, but nevertheless, once the son is born, he is in essence one with the brain of his father. So Evan is Av ben Kechada, father and son as one. Now, how do you find precious stones? The way to find precious stones is in the very beginning. Where they're created in sand, in the earth. Precious, I don't know, seismic precious, whatever it is, but they're covered in earth. And if you take a precious stone in its raw state, it doesn't shine at all. It looks like a dull pebble, worthless. You need to cleanse them. You need to polish it. And then their light is shining. In order for the precious stone in every single Jew, should exist, you have to elevate it from katnus to godless, from smallness to greatness, from constricted state to expanded state. Because even though the root of every single Jew is in the Keser Elyon, is in the crown of the king. In the beginning, it's covered, it is hidden, and you need tremendous patience. And you have to go through tremendous Yeridus. And you have to hear, great many derisions. And you have to judge those who deride you l'kav zchus. And amongst those who deride you, there's also you yourself. What am I? What am I? What am I? That l'kav zchus. When you find yourself that you need to do what you need to do, and you find yourself again and again and again repeating the same idiocies, excuse the language, over and over and over again. You can come to a conclusion, man, I'm hopeless. I'll never make it. But if you done a l'kav zchus, Rabbeinu says in Sichas Haran that there are thoughts in the mind of a person, which is like, that in various cultures, they have cockfights, that roosters fight one another or whatever it is, or dogs or whatever it is, and people gamble on this and they have an excitement from this, and when you get higher, it becomes a baseball team or a soccer team or a basketball team. It's basically the same thing. Animals, trying to beat other animals. And you have thoughts in your mind, or you say things, or you do things, and you cannot stop doing it. And you say to yourself, but I'm doing it to myself. I know I'm not supposed to do it. I'm totally clear I'm not supposed to do it. And I'm doing it. I'm the one who's doing it. We said it before. I don't even know anymore if I feel bad because I do it, or I do it because I feel bad about myself. Should be done in the kafschus. You have to feel as if that bad is you in order for the thing to be a fair fight. In order for Kadosh Baruch Hu to have a anoah from the fact that you have a munah in a Kadosh Baruch Hu knows what he's doing. And even if you fall 1,000 times over, it doesn't matter. It has to be that way. I have to feel like that's it. I'm done. There's no way. There's no choice. Be done with kafschus. There is a way. I will sigh. And if I can't even sigh, I will lift my eyes up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I won't even say a thing. I won't even ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to take these thoughts away from me. Because I feel like I don't want him to take these thoughts or these speech or these deeds away from me. I want to keep on doing them, I. But behind that I, there's a no, because Baruch Hu doesn't want it. Who am I fooling? But I can't even ask Kadosh Baruch Hu to take it away from me. Okay, so the only thing you can do is sigh. Anoch, as the Rebbeinu says in Terech Beis, Az is the Kedusha. When you do this, you light up the light of the Kesed. And what happens then is you're starting to feel the light of your Nekuda Torah. And even then, in the beginning, it's filled with pnias, it's filled with foreign thoughts in what. But the thing is that you have to be very, as Rabbeinu says, you have to be extremely well versed in Ratzah V'Shov, going up and going down. You keep on at the end, Kodesh Baruch Hu helps you that your own Nekuda shines to you. And then you are getting closer to Avodas Hashem. Then you can be that which Rabbeinu calls it a ish kosher be'emes, a true elchid. This is what the greatest tzaddikim do. They help the Nishmas Yisrael to illuminate and to discover their own precious stone, their own Nekudas HaEmes. As it says about Yosef HaTzadik, Misham Roya Even Yisrael, bracha that Yaakov Avinu gave to Yosef. In other words, the tzaddik is a roya, the tzaddik is a shepherd that rears the eventov, the precious stones that exist in every single Jew. And this is the source and the goal for total dveikus, oneness between a Jew and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The tzaddikim are the ones who are discovering the stones. The tzaddik is the child who is comprised totally of precious stones, because the tzaddik is comprised of the entirety of Nishmas Yisrael. Morris says, Rabbi Akiva said, where did we find a woman that gave birth to 600,000 people in one birth? Well, everybody was, never heard of such a thing. He says, that's Yocheved, that's the mother of Moshe Rabbeinu. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is Choshev Keklal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu, the Neshama Moshe Rabbeinu includes the Neshamas of all 600,000 Jews. That's why their job is to help every Jew discover his own precious stones. But, and there's a but, there are other tzaddikim which are on the lower level, on the level of a daughter. Make no mistake about it. They show the person the right way to go in a more general fashion. Meaning that he will learn Torah, and he will be Oisek B'Tefillah, and that he will awaken himself to sing to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and with great feeling, and do mitzvahs, with dik halacha, will find exactly what it is, with great simcha and tremendous brim. And when a person comes to them and he complains that he feels fatigued, he feels he's heavy in Avodas Hashem, they have the ability to blow into him a Ruach D'Kedusha and to light him up. But the thing is that the Ruach D'Kedusha that they blow into him is not his Ruach. That's not his own personal Ruach. That's not his gem. It's theirs. It doesn't come from his stone. This is why a person can have unbelievable excitement for a little while. For a while. It's beautiful, it's great. Because Baruch has tremendous simcha from that. But the main avodah of a Jew is to find your own Nakuda Torah, your own precious stone. This is where your contact, your oneness with Hashem Yisbarach exists. If you don't have that, even if you'll learn Torah all your days, you'll be dealing with Torah and with Tefillah, you'll know the entire Torah. You'll still feel you're not connected with the Kadosh Baruch. Even the excitement that the tzaddik is giving you is just temporary. At the end, it's going to peter out. It only happens temporarily, as Reb Nosson said on the pasuk. He says on the pasuk, when Yaakov Avinu goes to Haran, and there's the well, and the well is covered with a stone, and he asks the shepherds, the old shepherds, are roaming around, they're loafing around the well, and he asks them, why don't you just water the sheep and go ahead and take them to pasture? So they said, we can't do that. He says, Sham kol adorim. He says, we have to wait until all the adorim come together, all the flocks come together. And the Galuas Evan, and then they roll the stone off the be'er. And they will water, the sheep, the flocks. All the neshamas, it says of Nosson, that fell by Lavan, when they are coming together to any tzaddik, any elachid, and they sing together, they have tremendous serus for a while. And at that time, they're able to roll off the stone from Pia Be'er. And they're able to quench their nefesh temporarily. But then when they go back home, the stone heart comes back. And this is what it says, V'shivus ha'even al Pia Be'er. They will return the stone, and seals up the well again. In order to actually roll off the stone heart of stone completely, and to discover the Even Toiv, your own gem, your own light of the truth, you can only do it through Bechira. the tzaddik and the El Chayid, as big as he is, cannot do it for you. It has to come from you. It has to come through Bechira, and the Bechira has to come through tremendous trials and tests and tribulations. And you go over them, and you fall, Sheva Yipol Tzaddik V'kam, you fall and you get up, and you fall and you get up. Because it is through the avodah, this brainless avodah, the avodah, you don't feel like it. You're what they call constricted consciousness, as Rabbi Kaplan Zichrono Livracha used to say. Those avoiders of constricted consciousness, they're the ones who are polishing the stone. This is how you're polishing, how you're cleaning up the stones. This is what Rabbeinu says, that he's able to help somebody who was a Baal Bechira. The story was that there was an old man, that he was at the time of Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov told him, remember he was very young, and the Baal Shem Tov told him that one day you'll meet a grandchild of mine, who will be able to help the Baal Bechira. So this tzaddik lived for a long time. I think he lived over 100 years. And he went to Rebbe Baruch. Rebbe Baruch said, yeah, but how can you help a Baal Bechira? So this tzaddik said, you're not the one that your grandfather told me about. Then he came to Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu says the main trick is to help a Baal Bechira. So that tzaddik said, okay, you are the one, apparently you are the one who the Baal Shem Tov told me about, and then he passed away very soon after. That tzaddik is helping. What does it mean to help a Baal Bechira? Means that he helps a person to elevate himself from a state of tremendous hardship and difficulty in making choices. He doesn't blow into a person a ruach acheres. He doesn't give the person Ritalin, to get him to concentrate and to run off for a little while. That elevates him to, heights that person has never reached before, and takes away his bechira. But he is teaching his students how to deal with the tests, how to deal with the difficulty of bechira. I don't want to choose the good. I like the bad. I like this disgusting. I like it. I'm trying to tell you, I like it. I know I'm not supposed to, but I do. In the derech of his chaskas, this is mechazik you. And the fact, and when you find in Sefer Rabbeinu this exquisite sweetness that enlarges you and sets you on a different path, this is sweetness that comes from your own Nekudat Torah. It's rooted in the own inner stone, the own inner gem that you have. Through the tzaddik, it shines, and with great illumination. And this is the thing that elevates more and more and more the Nekudat Teva and the Ruach Teva that exists in the heart of every person. This is the secret why in Uman, people come to Uman and people are happy and they have absolutely no idea what they're happy about. Shomer Torah mitzvahs, not Shomer Torah mitzvahs, whatever it is, they go around, Pushkin and Belinsky, whatever it is, and they're dancing around and whatever it is, and singing about Rabbeinu, singing about Itzi and whatever. What are you singing about? Why are they so happy? Why do they keep on coming? The answer is that the tzaddik reflects to each and every person the precious gem within him. When you are by Rabbeinu, especially Rosh Hashanah, something within you is totally happy and satisfied to be you, exactly where you are, the way you are. You don't feel jealous that somebody else is such an unbelievable tzaddik, and who the heck am I? Everybody's equal. Because everybody feels an illumination from his own precious inner stone. Without Hashem, we will continue next week on this thing because, as I said, there's a but, there's a caveat, there's an or behind that. There's jealousy around the corner, which has to be dealt with. So, with this, B'ezrat Hashem, we will finish today, and we will meet in Mirz Hashem on Thursday, B'ezrat Hashem, in our share of the Likutei Moharan Torah Chaf Beis.